Yes, my peoples, what's up? It's your boy KC, and this is my first ever, you could say, long form video on this channel. So, welcome to the channel. For people that don't know me, my name is KC. I've been around a couple of the Chelsea fan um, channels, giving my opinion on the games for the past, I'd say, half season, last season, and the support and the love that I got from you guys has been crazy. Um, to the point where you guys have really requested for me to start something of my own. So here I am. I'm starting something of my own where I'm going to give you more of me, more of the match reactions to games, give you some live breakdowns as well. I'll be going to as many games as possible and just be showing you more of me. So for people that have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. And if you haven't and you're new around here, please subscribe. Hit on the bell notification so you get notified on every single video that I do. And make sure to like, comment, and share this video out with as many people as possible that love Chelsea or just love to hear about football. So today I'll be talking about the preview, my preview going into this season. And what I expect from this Chelsea team. Now, considering how bad we were last season, um, the managerial hiring, I wasn't really expecting, or I wasn't really expecting us to land a manager of Xabi Alonso's caliber. Um, Landing a manager of Xabi Alonso's caliber, of Xabi Alonso's talent, is an absolute coup. Like failed we somehow failed in order to get better. Like we had to take two steps back in order to take two steps forward. And I truly believe we've got one of the best managers in the league, in Xabi Alonso, a man that is very smart, a man that can play a three back or four back system, a man that's very unpredictable, and a man that immediately commands the respect of the dressing room. You know, we had PE teacher, politician Liam Rossini, and one of his biggest issues was he couldn't command the respect of a dressing room. Now we've got Xabi Alonso, who's seen as one of the greatest midfielders of our generation. Him coming into the squad will automatically raise the team morale and will automatically raise the standards of the squad. Um, you know, another reason why I said that I'm gonna do the preview now rather than early on, during the summer, was because when a lot of people asked me of my opinions of the season and how I think it's gonna go this season, I always gave them the same answer. You know, hiring Xabi Alonso was great, but I need to see whether the board, whether management upstairs will change their strategy in the transfer window. Will they carry on signing the 16, 17-year-old kids from the favelas and from the Scandinavian mountains? Or will they actually, this time, go and back Xabi Alonso adequately with world-class players, with proven winners, with proven Premier League experience, you know, with players that can raise the level of the squad, and players that might not be able to raise the level of the squad, but will definitely bring in a level of leadership and maturity into the dressing room, because you know that's one thing that we really struggled with last season. I think we got 10 red cards, which was the joint most in Premier League history. I think we were one short of the of breaking the record. So it was an absolutely appalling season in terms of discipline, and it was like nothing got through to these youngsters. So that was the big one for me. The big one for me in the summer was we need to go and get that centre back. We need to possibly go and reinforce in the left hand side of the attack, the left wing, getting a midfielder, getting a new goalkeeper, because as much as Sanchez has been reliable, I do not see him being that goalkeeper that can elevate you to win titles, to win Champions Leagues, and get a left back in that could be good cover for Hato and could possibly raise up his level, especially with the departure of Marc Correa. So there was a lot of questions that was in my mind, and there was a lot of things that we had to get resolved. And I'm not saying if they didn't get all of them resolved, I wouldn't be optimistic. But if they didn't get resolved 80% of those issues, especially with the centre back issue, I was fearing that we would have another season like last season. And it was looking like that for a short while. You know, we missed out on Granit Xhaka. Um, Granit Xhaka was Xabi Alonso's main guy. He was the guy that he wanted to bring over just because, he's played in the system. Absolutely, he's one of the best leaders in the Premier League. Someone like him, I would have welcomed him with open arms because immediately, maturity levels raise. Immediately, standards have increased. There's no way that players that can come in and be mediocre. So that was us missing out on Granit Xhaka, I was a bit concerned. Us signing Palestra before signing a centre back, I was a bit concerned that we might not get the centre back as well as signing Morgan Rogers. But I think what really calmed me and what really made me realise that, okay, cool, the board is moving in the right direction is obviously the signing of Maxis Lacroix. He was my number one target going into the summer transfer window, and we were able to get him, and we were able to get him for a good fee and £52 million. And also the signings of Danny Welbeck and Henderson, not because they come in and raise the level of the squad, but because they bring in an undeniable level of leadership which money can't buy, you know, and it's so invaluable to the team. I feel like Reece James has been placed in an uncomfortable situation where he's had to grow up and be a leader, and because of that, I don't think he's been as an effective leader as he should be. I think, he's one of the greatest to ever put on the shirt, but him as a leader is not it. So having the likes of Henderson and Welbeck there to help guide him and mentor him is a fantastic piece of business for me. And obviously the guys that we've also been able to ship out, that was a key thing for me as well. We've been able to get rid of the likes of Subject 49. For people that don't know, Garnacho, we've been able to get rid of him. We've been able to get rid of Chile on a loan, which I do believe will end up being a permanent. I do believe he'll do quite well at Napoli. We've been able to get rid of, and then unfortunately we've had to get rid of players that we didn't want to get rid of. So unfortunately, the likes of Chalobah has had to leave the club. Him leaving is just based on pure profit purposes. I would have liked to have kept him around ahead of certain other players that are still here, and also Santos as well. Santos was good, reliable squad depth, and we still haven't got a midfielder to replace him with. So that's another issue that I have as well. But I do believe we will get a midfielder in come the end of the transfer window. Which midfielder, I couldn't tell you. I think it's either between Alex Scott and Wharton. I think if I had to pick one, I think it would be Alex Scott just because he is the cheap out of the two. And it will be a lot easier to prize him away from Bournemouth compared to a Wharton getting him out of Crystal Palace. Because Crystal Palace have already made their major marquee sale in Lacroix. So in order for them to sell two marquee players, it would have to take an astronomical fee in order to get him out of Palace. And we're talking about 150 million, okay, not 150 million, but we're talking about at least, I'd say 120 and above. And I don't think we'd be willing to pay that sort of money. And I don't think we should pay that sort of money because I think come January or even the summer window of 27, I think we can get Wharton for a considerably cheaper price because I feel like he would be the next player to go out of Palace. So I feel like we'll be able to get him for a cheaper price. So right now, the issues that we have, i.e. the midfield, centre back, another centre back, because we still need another centre back for me. I feel like having Lacroix through the door is fantastic, but we still need another centre back for squad depth and a goalkeeper. Those three positions I still need strengthening. I still need another three signings through the door filling in those key positions. We're going to briefly touch on pre-season. I think pre-season as a whole was overall quite positive. Not because of the results. Yes, we did lose a couple games, we did draw a couple games, and yeah, we won a couple games. But I think it's been really good because it's further highlighted the strengths and the weaknesses of the squad, and it's further highlighted which players have a future in the squad and which players don't have a future in the squad. So like for example, Palestra, I had no idea about him. I didn't know who he was as a player. When he first signed for the club, all I knew is he won Defender of the Year, so I thought he had to be half decent. And from the little videos that I'd seen him play through the highlight comps. I'd seen he was like my typical wing back, someone that's very, very good going forward. Defensively isn't all that yet, but I think with over time he can get better because he is only, I believe, 2021, so he can get better in that department over time. Preseason, I think he was one of our best performers. Looked absolutely electric going forward. I loved the chemistry that he'd already formed with his right-sided wingers, with his right-sided attackers, whether it be with Palmer or Esteval or Quenda. Like, you can tell that he has a really good understanding on how the way they play their game, and from there he knows when to overlap, when to cut inside, when to not cut inside, when to make the pass, when not to make the pass. And he's so two-footed in the sense of you don't know whether he's right-footed or left-footed. So for me, Palestra has been absolutely fantastic in this preseason. João Pedro, I don't know how you got left out of the World Cup squad. It's still an absolutely baffling revelation to me how a player of his caliber did not go to the World Cup. But that's a blessing in disguise for us because I truly believe he's going to win the Golden Boot this season. You know, I truly believe he's going to win the Golden Boot this season. I think he's getting at least 20 plus goals in the league this season. I think he's going to get around 25 goals in all competitions, possibly hit 30. He's ready, man. The guy is ready. You can tell there's a fire lit inside of him, especially with him being excluded from the squad. He's hungry. He wants to score. Some of the goals he's been scoring has been well taken goals from a clinical, you would expect from a clinical striker. And in the league right now, bar Erling Haaland, there's no other striker better than João Pedro. You know, it goes Erling Haaland number one, João Pedro number two, and then I don't know who the third, fourth, and fifth is, but I know that João Pedro is better than Erling Haaland, is better than all of the strikers other than Erling Haaland right now. So for me, he's going to win the Golden Boot, and he's one of the main guys I'm looking at this season. And dare I say, you know, come the end of the season, if he actually performs to that level, I could say that this could be João Pedro's team. I really could say that. You know, who else really impressed me in the tour? I'd say the youngsters really impressed me. Nicol Jazuli, we've got a talented boy there. He is 16, so he's not going to play as many minutes, but I think he'll be playing a lot in the PL2 side. I think he is going to be one for the future. He's someone I'm very, very looking forward to seeing the development and progress of, and as well as Reggie Watson. I've literally said Reggie Watson is Adam Wharton 2 years away. I think Reggie Watson is someone that doesn't have the most flashiest game, but always keeps it simple with his passing, with his passing IQ, his ability to control the midfield, dictate the midfield, and him playing at centre back in that 3-3 draw with that Malaysian team, Johor. He looked a lot better at centre back than Tosin and Badishile and Desassi. So, you know, he seems like he could be quite versatile as well. And what really made me happy was, you know, there was one interview I'd read that he had done, and he literally said that his dad forced him to watch Xabi Alonso play football. His dad literally forced him to inspire his game after Xabi Alonso. So, you know, even having your idol as your coach, that's going to help him so much. And he's another one that I'm really going to be paying attention to in the academy, and I think he'll be absolutely fantastic. You know, Stapayev is someone that I'm looking forward to seeing how the way he does at Burnley. I believe it's a good loan. Championship, I'll always love when our youngsters get moves to the Championship, League One, League Two, because they're leagues that are very, very physical, and you know, they don't wait for players to grow and settle into the game. You have to be on it from game one, and I think him playing in an environment like the Championship will help him physically, and he'll be able to improve that side of his game and understand that chances don't come easy in the Championship. They come a lot easier than the Premier League, but I think he'll be able to really polish his striker skills in the Championship in terms of, like, you know, his footballing IQ, where to position himself, attacking sense, his finishing ability. He'll be able to improve because, you know, obviously he's getting compared to baby Aguero. I saw glimpses of that during preseason, and he's someone that I'm very, very excited to look at as well. Um, there are some players, and then also good thing about preseason was we saw some players there in which we knew already they were dead food. We already knew that they do not deserve to wear the Chelsea shirt. They should not be anywhere near the squad. But I think preseason further exemplified that, and also certain players that just need a loan and they're not ready yet. So, for example, Tosin and Subject 9, for people that not even Subject 9 now no more, is Subject number 9 is now given to João Pedro. Subject 9 was Liam Delap, but now Liam Delap has been given number 12. So Subject 12, and I believe Tosin has been given number 38, if I'm not mistaken. So 38, Subject 38, Tosin, Subject 12, the lap, both of them dead food. They both need to get out of the football club. They both do not deserve to be wearing the shirt, and it's pretty funny that, when we first hired Xabi Alonso, reports came out that Tosin was originally a part of his untouchables list. Now, how much I believe that, I don't know. If that was to be the case, then thank God that Xabi Alonso woke up and realized that this guy cannot be anywhere near his untouchables list. Every single team we played against, he struggled, including the Malaysian teams, including the Western Sydney Wanderers. The guy is not Chelsea standard. He needs to be sold. He needs to be sold. And the good thing about it is at least we got him on a free. So whatever sort of money that we make of him, it will be profit. So even if we sell him for 5 million, 5 million profit looks good on the books. So, but apart from that, I want that guy out of my football club. He's just, I don't want to see him this season. I don't want to see him play a single minute this season. No chance. Delap, I mean, I don't know. That guy is so dead food that he makes me speechless. I don't want to talk about him, but I think we all know how he is as a football player, or should I say, impersonating himself as a football player, because he's a wrestler. All he knows how to do is just RKA moves on players, body players to the ground, kick players, hurt players intentionally, not trying to play any sort of football. His overall game is very, very poor. Can't hold up the ball, can't dribble, can't pass. Unlike compared to Jackson, where Jackson's finishing might be a bit off, hit or miss sometimes. At least with Jackson, he could give you the hold up play. At least he was a good ball carrier. At least he could play in other positions, such as the left 10 in a back three, as we've seen in preseason, or on the left side in a back four. The lap can't play anywhere. The lap is just dead food. So the lap needs to go as well. And good news about the lap as well is somehow, by the grace of God, we've got a lot of clubs, Premier League clubs, mid-table Premier League clubs that are interested in him and that will be willing to pay between 40 to 45 million. The first club that comes in, for that fee, whether it be 40 to 45 million, you take that money and run. You don't second question them. You don't second question them. You don't ask them for more money. You just take that money and run, and we just leave it as that and pretend it as if the guy never played for our football club in the first place. He needs to go. Josh Achempong, he was someone that I was really looking forward to coming into this preseason. But you can tell him not playing as many minutes as he did last season really affected him. um, and because of that, he wasn't able to perform come this season. He wasn't able to perform in preseason. Looked very, very shaky. Looked good against AC Milan, but the first game against Western Sydney Wanderers was a massive indication to me that he needs a loan. He needs a loan. He needs to go out on a loan, and he needs to be playing regular football week in, week out. Now, reports are saying that Xabi Alonso wants to keep him around as a backup, but for me, I'd prefer that he goes out on a loan, because a guy like him, with his amount of potential and talent, he cannot be sitting on the bench just waiting for mediocre minutes, 20, 30 minutes. No, he needs to be playing 90 minutes week in, week out. So a loan move to Coventry, I'd love that for him. I think it would work on all parties, where he's playing week in, week out, regular football, improving on his footballing, improving on his defensive IQ, getting stronger, and as well as increasing or improving on his strengths as well, which is his ball carrying ability, his passing ability, um, and his athleticism. He's a very, very athletic centre back, and like I said again, we've got a potentially £100 million defender in our hands in Josh Hutchinson, but that cannot be fully maximized or utilized if he's sitting on the bench and only getting 20-30 minutes a game. He needs to be going out there and playing 90 minutes on a regular basis. Dario Sugo last season, I believe, only played around, what was it, like 50 odd minutes, 50 odd minutes last season in the Premier League alone. In all comps, I believe it was around less than 100 minutes. I know that for a fact. The guy needs a loan as well. Really, really struggled in preseason, barring the first game against Sydney. He really struggled throughout the rest of the preseason. And for me, I think he needs a loan as well, where he's actually playing regular football. Whether it be in the Premier League or Strasbourg or wherever, I think he just needs a loan. He needs a loan and he needs regular football as well, because he's not ready to fill in the role of a Caicedo. If Caicedo was to, God forbid, go down and we replace him with Isugo, the midfield becomes considerably weaker, a lot weaker. Mudryk, listen, on a personal note, I'm so happy that he's back playing football. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I think personally, pound for pound, he's been the worst signing in Chelsea history. I don't think there's been a signing as bad as Mudryk. When we're comparing the fee to the actual output, we've given him 2.5 seasons. And in those 2.5 seasons, he hasn't shown me that he's Chelsea standard. So I think for me, he needs a loan just to play and get his confidence back. And wherever it may be, whether it be Strasbourg in the Premier League, in Serie A, wherever it is, if he plays well, we sell him. At least we can sell him for a bit. We can sell him for extra money than if we were to just sell him right now up front. So he needs a loan. He needs a loan to improve his market value. So if he plays well, we can sell him on for a couple extra £1 million. But yeah, for me, it's a loan, never come back again for me, because it's not going to work. It's over. In a back four, he could work. In a back five, he hasn't got the IQ to play wing back for me. So he needs a loan. And for me as well, I think coming into this season with Jackson as well, I think Jackson, the last player that we have to touch on before I go on to the squad as a whole. Jackson in this preseason has shown that he can be a valuable contributor into the Chelsea squad. Now, do I believe he's going to stay? No, because I believe the bridges have been burnt, and I believe they've been burnt to the point where it's of no return. Last season last season he was exiled from the squad, not because of talent, but because of his maturity levels. Obviously getting that red card 2 seasons ago, which always cost us Champions League football. We get Champions League football, and then the Club World Cup, you get the red card against Flamengo, which, played a part in why we lost 3-1. It showed that, in terms of maturity, I can't trust you on the pitch. I can't trust you to be mature and keep a level head. Obviously we then sent him out on loan to Bayern Munich. The loan almost didn't go through because you tried to call him back after the injury to Delap. He was insistent that he's not going anywhere. Went to Bayern Munich for that season. Didn't really have a good loan. At least we got 15 million for him through the loan, but he didn't have a good loan at all. I believe he's come back and he wants to fight for his place and he wants to play under Xabi Alonso. And I do believe Jackson's squad will contribute a lot to the squad. I think him, on the left, in a back four, or him as one of the left tens as a backup to Rodgers, would be really, really good, But at the same time, I think the money that we can get for him, between 60 to 65 million, is hard to turn down. So I think if the money does come for him, 60 to 65 million, we have to take that. But if it doesn't, I'd love to keep him around for next season, because I do believe he has proven in pre-season, in terms of skill-wise, he's a lot better than some of the wingers and some of the tens and some of the strikers that we have at this football club, So I would love to keep him around. And obviously the big one is Enzo Fernandez as well. Enzo Fernandez is another one. I've always maintained the position of, I love Enzo Fernandez as a player. He's one of my favourite players at the football club. But the way he conducted himself last season, especially during our torrid time, when he's talking about, the city of Madrid liking lacking the food, the culture, and everything. People are trying to say he wasn't talking about Real Madrid. Don't be stupid. When you're talking about the city of Madrid, it's quite obvious with you. We know you're talking about Real Madrid, and don't come with me with Atletico Madrid because no kid grows up wanting to play for Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid ain't one of the big boys. It's Real Madrid. We all know it's Real Madrid, and it's understandable. Real Madrid is Real Madrid, and we understand that you were one of the first players to buy into the project. But there's a way that you go about things, and obviously his agent didn't help the situation. In fact, made the situation worse by bringing out all these briefs talking about he wants to leave, he wants to leave, he wants to leave. We're trying to find ways and getting him out of the football club and getting him to Madrid. So bad that Madrid had to come out saying that, yo, we're not interested in him. And he hasn't come out with some sort of statement saying that I want to stay at Chelsea, I want to fight for the badge. I apologise for all the stress and harm that I've caused throughout the season. He hasn't come out with some sort of statement like that, He's just walked his way back into the team, back into the squad. He violated the badge at the end of the day. No matter how the way Enzo defenders want to put it, he violated the badge at the end of the day, and he did violate the club, and it was no different to how the way Maresca done us dirty. But I'll give it to him. He has come back to preseason. He hasn't caused any sort of rift, any sort of conflict, any sort of he hasn't caused any sort of problems within the squad. He hasn't started kicking up a fuss saying that he wants to leave, he wants to leave. He has been professional about it. He did play in preseason, and during the preseason game, last preseason game against Sociedad, he played very, very well. So I do believe he will come in this season and he will give it 100% effort, because that's one thing about Enzo. Enzo never down tools. I think it's very, very rare that Enzo down tools. Enzo will give it his all. He will play to his best strengths, and I do believe he will put in 110% effort and will give his very best for the badge, because I do believe Enzo is proper Chelsea through and through. But my personal opinion, I think it is for best for all parties for him to go, though, just because he has been here for 4 years. He has given time for this project. He's a guy that wants to win. You can tell he wants to win. He wants to compete at the highest level. And that's something that we can't promise him right now. And I do believe a player of his caliber, of his standard, deserves to go to a high level club like a Real Madrid, like a PSG, like a Man City, and be competing for the big trophies. He deserves that because he is that type of player. That's why for Marc Cucurella, as much as it was sad to let him go, it was the right time because he wants to compete, and we couldn't promise him that. And I think it was good that for all parties that he did go. So I do believe it is best for all parties that Enzo does leave. But I don't think it will happen. It's unrealistic that it will happen. So that's, I think, all the players, I think, were in question throughout pre-season, and the players that really stood out to me and a lot of other Chelsea fans. For me this season, I've made it very, very clear. A lot of players are on their final chance for me. I think bar Reece James, Esteval, João Pedro, Hato, Caicedo, and all the new signings, I believe every other player is on their final chance for me. This is their last season. This is the season where they have to prove themselves. Because if they don't, we have to discuss about letting you go in summer 27. And I am including Cole Palmer in this category. Yes, I am. Because he's had 18 poor months. He's been poor for 18 months. For as outstanding he's been for the first 18 months, and he was putting up world class numbers, and we'll talk about him, being a future Ballon d'Or winner. For the past 18 months, he's been atrocious. He's been terrible. He has not played to the standard of the superstar Cole Palmer that we've all bigged him up to be, and I expect him to be. He's had, him during preseason, he's actually been a lot better. I believe he has a more spring to his step. He's been beating his man. He's been taking on his man a lot more and beating them more frequently. He's been making the right pass a lot quicker. His passes look crisper. He has crisper movement, and you can tell that the rest has really helped him. However, I do have an issue that he hasn't reached he still isn't at that 23, 24 season yet. He still isn't at that level yet where it's the superstar Cole Palmer. And we are screaming that this is his team. A lot of people are still saying that this is his team. So this season for me, Cole Palmer needs to step up. He's got no excuses now for me. Last season he had no excuses, but this season now, there's literally no excuses at all because he's got under rest. He didn't go to the World Cup. He spoke about how the way he wanted to get surgery, but after consultation with the medical advisors and other people around him, they said it was best not for him to get surgery. So I don't want to hear no comments about he's injured or he's tired or he has to carry the team on his shoulders, because now he has Morgan Rogers there. Now João Pedro has shown that he's more than capable of being that guy on that team. You know, he's got Caicedo there. They're helping him. Reece James, they're helping him. You know, Lacroix, Colwell as well is part of the guys that aren't on their last chance for me as well. He ain't on the last chance as well. He's part of the first group of players. He's got no excuse. He's got everything running for him, and he's got a world-class manager in Xabi Alonso. For me this season, I expect 20 GA in the league. 20 GA, whether it be 10 goals, 10 assists, 15 goals, 5 assists, I don't care. 20 GA in the league this season for me, for him. You know, he has to deliver. He has to deliver. He has no excuses now. He has nowhere to turn, nowhere to hide, you know, because if he has a season like last season, coming into this season, if it's anywhere similar, then we have to speak about letting him go. Letting him go, selling him on, or potentially reducing his role in the squad where he's a bench player. Because we've given him 18 months to recover. You know, we've given him 18 months of grace because of the 18 months good work that he's given. And he's had the whole summer to rest and recover, get fit, get fresh, get better. He has to deliver now. And people are going to say, oh, you can't judge a player based on GA. Unfortunately for attackers, you judge them based on GA, you know. And especially if we're talking about Cole Palmer being a superstar, Cole Palmer being world class, you're going to get judged based on GA, whether to determine whether you are world class or not. That's just the litmus test. So Cole Palmer this season, 20 GA in the league, he has to step up. He cannot have the mediocre season again, and it has to contribute to wins. So yeah, overall, this season, if this transfer window was to shut today, I believe we'll finish anywhere between third to fourth. I think we've got the squad more than capable enough to play, more than capable enough to compete for the title, considering the fact that we'll be playing one game a week as well. You know, we've got no European competition. We've got adequate squad depth, so players will be getting rotated healthy between the cup competitions and, you know, and the Premier League season. I truly believe we finish anywhere between third to fourth if you know, we were to leave our transfer activity as how it is today. However, if we go in and get that midfielder, the goalkeeper that I've requested for, and another backup centre back, so those three positions, blue ribbons in May. Blue ribbons in May, and I truly believe we win the title, and I want us to compete for the title. I don't see anything holding us back from us competing for the title, because this Premier League is so wide open, you know. Arsenal are the defending champions and are everyone's favourites to go back to back, including myself. I think at this rate, I don't see anyone overtopping Arsenal. I think Arsenal, unfortunately, will go back to back, which is just painful for me to say, but they're beatable. The squad isn't like the squad of Man City under Pep or the Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, where they seem like unbeatable teams and you had to build a squad, you know, within 3-5 years and get that absolutely perfect to even be talking about competing with those guys. You know, the Arsenal squad is there for the taking. They are there for the taking. They're not as good as people make them out to be. Manchester United, I think, could be in that title race talk, but they haven't made the signings that they need to make, i.e. that midfielder that can cover ground, the destroyer, which obviously they're now speaking about getting Carlos Baleba. If they can get him through the door, fantastic. And then they need the left back. I've also heard rumors about Balde of Barcelona. They're going to bring in Balde of Barcelona. If they can bring him and Baleba and another backup centre back and a left winger, then I think they possibly could take it to Arsenal and also be competing for the title as well. I think Man City will be around the title race because City are always City. They're always going to be there. But I do believe that Maresca will struggle. One thing about Maresca is I think he's a very good coach. I think, he ain't an elite coach, but he has all the makings of an elite coach. His problem is he's very, very stubborn and he reacts slowly to changes. When he needs to make a change, it takes him 3-4 games to clock the issue and make the change adequately. With City, I don't know if they're going to give him that much time, especially with the fans as well. I don't think they're going to give him that much time considering the fact that they've gone literally from Pep to, Maresca. So I think they'll give him time, but if he's going to be stubborn about making changes in which he needs to make changes, then obviously the patience is going to wear very, very thin and very, very quickly. Liverpool, people are talking about Liverpool being in the title charge. I think it's quite deluded considering the fact that Iriola, his style of football, will take a couple months for it to be implemented and for it to be effectively implemented. And they're going to have to buy 6-7 new players that can play his style of football because they haven't got the players there to do that. He said it himself, his players can't play a style of football for more than 20 minutes. And people forget when he first came into the Premier League with Bournemouth, they were struggling, they were struggling for the first 3-4 months. They were in a relegation. I think they were 20th in the league. People were talking about him getting sacked before Halloween. And it was only after, I would say, until November, December time in which things really started to pick up and things started to get better. So with Iriola, his season's definitely going to be transitional season. Liverpool are not going to be anywhere near title charge. And then, for me, Tottenham are Tottenham. Tottenham have made some great signings, yeah, some smart signings, but Tottenham are Tottenham. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near a title charge come this season for me. So with all the teams that I've mentioned, I truly believe with that centre-back, midfield and goalkeeper signed, blue ribbons in May. Why not? I think we can compete for the title and we've got more than enough potential to be competing for the title. But again, for me, it comes down to one word: consistency. Is this squad consistent? Is this squad got the mentality to be consistently good throughout the season, 38 games? Because they can do it for 1-2 games. They've shown that, for the 1-2 games against the big teams, they can turn up, they can perform. They've shown that they can do that. They've even shown to a degree for a month or two, they can play the best football and they can be up there with the big boys, competing with the big boys. But over a 38 game season, the mentality hasn't been there. That's why when it comes to December, we're second. By the time January hits, we're in a top 4 race. So that's one thing I'm looking at this season is consistency. Can they be consistent this season throughout a 38 game stretch, throughout a 38 game season stretch in which we can be talking about the title come May? I truly believe with one game awake, with the squad that we have, with now the leadership that we've added in and the manager that we have, I don't see anything that stops us from achieving that goal. So right now, I believe it's going to be either a 3rd or 4th place finish with an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup on the side. If the transfer window was to however, we were to get the midfielder, centre-back and goalkeeper in, I think we will come December, January, we'll be 1st, 2nd, decide to ditch all the cup competitions, which is bad for me to say, but I think we'll ditch all the cup competitions and purely and solely focus on that league title. And I truly believe we can get over the edge and I think we can beat Arsenal to it and win the Premier League title come May. Like I said again, for the reasons that I've mentioned. But that's all for today. Let me know your opinions in the comments section. Let me know whether you agreed with anything, disagreed with anything. One thing about me is I love people that will give alternative opinions, people that love to agree or disagree with me, and we can have some sort of debate, some sort of argument. I believe these arguments and debates are healthy arguments and debates to have. And I truly believe, um, and I truly believe those sort of arguments and debates help me improve my ball knowledge and helps you improve your ball knowledge. So please, any sort of opinions that you have, please put them in the comments section, whether you agree or disagree with what I've said, whether you've liked or disliked with what I said, and please explain why you believe so. As always, again, please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, share the video, and I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. I'll be at the Fulham game for the first game of the season, which I'm absolutely looking forward um, to to being at. So also let me know if you want me to do some sort of like match day vlog, some sort of like immediate match reaction video on my channel or something like that. Let me know any sort of ideas and plans that you have that you want me to do, because again, this is not just my community, this is everyone's community, and I want to just give you the best content that I can possible. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This has been your boy KC, and up the Chelsea.